Hey everyone, how are you? Ashley Mudzai here, the Psychic Life Coach. And as always, I'm so excited for another Thought Leader Thursday. You guys know I bring on the most quality people that I meet, I know, I love, and I trust because I want my community to be your community. Today we have Christopher DeBartolo, fitness expert and transformation coach, helping people break the cycle of defeat so they can transform their mind, body, and stay fit for life. Thank you so much, Christopher, for being here.
It's a pleasure, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's start out with how we met. How did we meet?
Sure. So we met in a Starbucks one early morning before a conference we were at in San Diego.
Yes,
Yeah. I think you were drinking some form of supplement, and I was like, what are you drinking over there?
fizzy stick. You guys know I love my fizzy
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah.
I feel that how you guys know that I teach on mindset and manifestation, and they are my favorite things. So number one, like everyone I bring into my space, I manifest these super powerful people, and it's just in a Starbucks, and we happen to have this great conversation. We were walking in the same direction. We ended up going to this amazing conference together, and it was the Clients in Abundance conference. And I think that's so, not to like steal the stage here, but that is so important because as we were talking, not only did I discover Christopher's heart and what he does, and I'm so excited to dive into that, but also the quality of the coaching that he provides. Some of you guys know that I have a background in holistic health, so I'm really passionate about that. I've also had a lot of, autoimmune disorders and a lot of health issues in and out of the hospital. So for me to connect with someone who really believed in this, overall health and fitness, all of the things, I was like, I got to get to know you better. And what stood out to me the most, and again, why I bring the most quality people to you, is that he was at this conference with coaches who are committed to being the best at what they do. I was there for that reason. And no, Chris, that was one of the reasons why you were there too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that because I don't want to just throw anyone on here and be like, hey, look at this cool friend I made. I want you guys to have access to amazing people. And Christopher, you are definitely one of those. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my background is in fitness and nutrition, and I like to say I'm a fitness nerd because it's just something I'm super passionate about. I found fitness when I was about 19 years old. I started training when I was about 21, and I've been doing it ever since. So I'm about 16 years now into fitness and nutrition soon became my secondary passion to fitness because I realized that they go hand in hand. And I realized that no matter how hard I worked in the gym, if I didn't get my nutrition dialed in, I wasn't going to get the result that I wanted because I wasn't getting the result. And so when I realized how important nutrition was, it became very fascinating to me. So that's my background. Aside from being passionate about fitness and nutrition, I like to say that I believe we're here to serve. I think that the number one reason that we're here is to serve people, to help people live happier, healthier lives. And I do that through fitness and nutrition.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And we had such a wonderful conversation before. What would you say is the key to being fit for life?
Sure. So
Loaded question.
yeah, and it is a loaded question. I'll try to simplify it because being fit for life is so much more than just following a diet or following a training program or doing something in bursts. I think I see a lot of people doing things in bursts. Like you make the commitment and you say, I'm going to get in shape or I'm going to lose some weight. And okay, what am I going to do in order to do that? And everybody has different methods to doing that. And none of them are really wrong. But it's what we do needs to be able to set us up for the long haul. So if we do something that's just totally out of our comfort zone, super uncomfortable, and a lot of diets are unrealistic. Even some types of training are unrealistic.
Yeah.
And it's okay to change things as we go, as long as we have that intention when we begin. Because what I say is the reason most people don't succeed long-term is because when you start a diet, the number one problem with most diets is they have end dates. So we actually begin with the intention of quitting, right? So if I'm going to do this for the next 12 weeks, or I'm going to do this until I lose 20 pounds, I'm going to do this, until we always have this end date on it. And when we do that, we are setting ourselves up to fail because we quit. And then what do we do afterwards? If you don't make that decision that this is for the long haul and I'm going to figure out what am I going to do afterwards, oftentimes we get stuck and we yo-yo. So we go in bursts. So we have success and then we kind of slide back to where we were. And if and the reason is because as human beings, we require change, change is very uncomfortable. So we can push ourselves to go through the discomfort until we, get the result. But then we naturally kind of go back to what is comfortable, naturally to what we know. And that's usually the very same thing that got you to where you didn't want to be in the first place. So if you have that understanding, now we have to figure out, what do we do in order to maintain these results for life? What can we do there? And it's unique to each individual. Personally, myself, I like to follow what I call an 80-20 rule. I don't think you should ever set the intention to be perfect. And the reason I say that is I can't tell you how many times I've had clients tell me, like, Chris, I fell off the wagon. I hear that all the time. I fell off the wagon. Oh, okay. What happened? Oh, I went out of town. I went on vacation. And man, I gained like 10 pounds and I need to get back on track, and it's,
are you on?
and it's always funny to me because we have this moment in time where you fell off the wagon, where you feel like you failed, you failed yourself, and you didn't fail yourself. I think you have to, in your mind, allow yourself to do these things, realize that if I'm going to a wedding, or I'm going out of town, I'm going on vacation, or whatever, nobody's lives are the same every single day. They fluctuate. And so you have to understand you're never going to be perfect all the time. We just try to do the best we can with what we have. And don't set this, high expectation that you're going to live perfectly and you're going to follow a diet perfectly and you're going to do everything perfectly and you're not going to miss the gym and you're going to, because when you do that, you overwhelm yourself and you let yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just try to do the best I can with wherever I am and what I'm doing. Because let's say you do gain a couple of pounds on vacation, whatever, it's no big deal. You just go right back to what you were doing when you get home. It's no big deal. Instead of feeling like, I let myself down, I fell off the wagon, I failed. And then you kind of, get down on yourself and you stop doing what you were doing before until weeks or months go by and you go, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to recommit. And that's what I see all too often.
Yep.
So that's something I try to help people through and find a way, find something that is going to take them step by step and help guide them to where they want to be, but also teach them what they need to know. Not everything, because you don't need to know everything, but what you need to know in order to sustain that result for life. And there's a lot that goes into it. I can talk about this for hours, but
I love that. As you're talking, I'm in so many thoughts because I am really passionate about food nutrition. I'm really open about this because I know when I speak my truth, other people can be helped in this. But I had struggled with a lot of eating disorders and body dysmorphia and the relationship with my body. And so I love that you're saying this because the psychology piece is so important. It's not a failure. It's now you have an opportunity to choose again. See, there's like a different energy there. And I never bring this in because it's a little bit heavy, but I just talked to somebody about this today, actually, and who had experienced certain things. And she said, yeah, my motivation in losing weight was by being disappointed in my body. Like I wasn't, I can't have that because I was naughty, right? So like this might sound really heavy, but we'll bring it because this is what we're going to be talking about. This is what people actually struggle with. But she said, like, I hated my body, so I couldn't have those things, and I had to restrict, and I had to. And I have always said, but why don't you love your body and then you get to. And she's like, that flip-flop in the concept of loving my body and I get to choose again. And also, like, I choose to be healthy. You don't always have to be super fit, like where you see your abs and things like that. Like you'll see people on stage. We talked about this too. When people are on stage, great, because you can tell that they have earned all of that, but it's also like you're super dehydrated and all of that. So it's not, one of my coaches had said when I was really working out, she said, it's actually like one of the most unhealthy that you could be because you're super dehydrated. And so sometimes that's the goal that we want, but that might be different than what it means for you to truly be healthy. So it's understanding what these boundaries are. And then which road are you going to take? Are you going to take the road of I love my body and I get to do this and I'm going to work with a coach who can help me get there? Or is it going to be, I'm going to be really strict and take this diet and hopefully it'll work and not crash and burn?
Yes.
So that's kind of like where my heart was going because I'm so passionate about this. And I love that you have such an open-handed approach to it where it's not one size fits all. It's like, let's do what's best for your body right now. So what would you say to someone who, I know this with a lot of people, they want to be that fit person on stage, maybe not on stage, but they want to be that fit person, that's their goal, that they miss the mark of even like prioritizing being healthy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So most bodybuilders, most people who compete on a regular basis aren't healthy. And it's because they follow such strict diets. A lot of people don't understand that there's healthy, but most people don't think about healthy in terms of like what our body actually needs. We think we can take a multivitamin and we're just getting everything we need, which is very far from the truth. And so I think about nutrient density when it comes to food and what we consume. We need a lot of different minerals and a lot of different antioxidants and different things for our bodies to function at their peak state. And we don't get a lot of them, or we eat things that actually suppress our body's ability to utilize them. And so that's a pretty heavy subject that most people don't like to geek out on like I do, but it's something I could take into consideration when I'm helping somebody. I help you in a way that's more simple. But when you're following such a super strict diet and you're limiting yourself to like chicken and broccoli and rice, you're getting very, very little nutrition out of that. So you might think, well, chicken, broccoli, and rice is healthy. Maybe you're adding another vegetable or maybe, fish. It's all healthy, but you're really limiting the amount of nutrition that you're taking into your body. And your body, especially when you're exercising a lot, the more you move your body, the more stress you place on it and the more resources it requires in order to maintain itself, in order to be healthy. And so if you're really limiting what you're putting in and you're using more than you're putting back in, you actually prematurely age yourself. So there's a reason that I've seen a lot of bodybuilders with that.
Great job. I was like, got it.
Yeah. And I've noticed a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of people who compete, they look a little aged in the face. And I always wondered that, like, why do they look a little aged in the face? Like, shouldn't they be healthy? Like, their bodies look so fantastic, But you can be super unhealthy and yet look ripped because you're just manipulating macronutrients. So I like to look at both. We look at macronutrients and micronutrients, which I know that. So micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. They're the actual things that our body uses, to stay healthy, antioxidants. And then macronutrients are like your protein, carbs, and fats. So a lot of that is very overwhelming to people to think about. So I try my best to simplify what I do. I have a unique approach to nutrition, which I give people the flexibility and freedom to eat really however they want. Now, I can't tell you that you're going to get where you want to go eating nothing but fast food and crap. Like, that's not something I tell people to do. I will suggest the best thing for you and what you want to achieve, but I give you the freedom to choose. So I give you guidelines and I say, hey, this is what I would do if I were you. Here's the guidelines. Here's the roadmap. Here's how you can cheat. You want that brownie today? Fine. Like, here's how you can have that brownie, or here's how you can have that slice of pizza, or here's how you can eat that bowl of pasta and get away with it. Because I believe more in following an 80-20 rule. I think that 80% of the time, if you do what you're supposed to do and you eat for your body, you can still enjoy that food. And I can show you how to do that. But I think you got to be able to have things that, most other coaches or most of the time diets and things restrict you from having. And that's what keeps people from succeeding long-term, is because as we were talking earlier, Ashley, that ability to choose the hard thing all the time, it's a finite ability. Every time you have to do something you don't want to do, you only have there's only so much capacity of being able to choose the hard thing and discipline yourself to do the thing you actually don't want to do before you eventually just run out. You can't do that 24 hours a day. So if you're having to discipline yourself in many other areas, we have to be able to have some enjoyment as well, but manage it.
Yeah, you said something so beautifully about the willpower. Do you want to go into that? I don't even want to butcher it. It was so how you had said it.
Oh, so willpower is finite. We only have so much of it. And most of us are utilizing willpower in so many other ways, making ourselves get up early, or, making ourselves do the selfless things we need to do for our families, making ourselves do a job that we may not love, making ourselves go to the gym, making ourselves choose a healthier, food option at lunch versus the fast food, or maybe at work, you've got, the junk food table, where people bring in a whole bunch of crap and choosing not to eat that. Or maybe it's that time in your day where you're like, what, this is where I'd really like to enjoy something that's not so good for me. But what I like to teach people is how to have an understanding of what you can and cannot get away with, and be realistic about it. Because being completely honest, like, I love pizza, but I don't eat pizza every day. You know, I might eat it a couple times a month, but when I do eat pizza, there is a way to eat it without having it negatively impact you. And I teach people how to do that. Same thing with if you want to enjoy a cookie or you want to enjoy a soda, you know, it's all about moderation, and we hear moderation, but what does it really mean? It's different for each individual because every body is different and everybody's goals are different. So some people can get away with way more and some people can't get away with quite as much, you know.
And I would say too, on that, as I'm thinking about it, is mindset is so important. If you are to eat pizza and you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm eating this. I'm going to feel so guilty later. And we're feeling that negative energy and we're pouring it into our food. You know, if you've seen like the Dr. Emoto in the water, like your thoughts, like if you're driving a car and you can feel someone looking at you, like there's subtle frequencies, right? That's how it is with our water, and that's how it is with our food. So if you're stressing out about this pizza that you're going to eat and then you put it in your body doesn't want to break that down. It's like, ew, no, store it as fat. Store it as fat. We don't want any of that, right? But instead you would say, I get to, and I don't really like the idea of the word like cheat days because it's just a decision, right? We'll talk about that too, and having a decided heart. And it's like, today I choose to enjoy this pizza. And that gives your body permission to break it down and assimilate and absorb all of those nutrients. And then you have a healthy relationship with food. So again, like bringing the energy of the two. So I love that. Like give yourself permission to enjoy those things on like in that 80-20 rule. I'm like the 20% of the time. Yes.
Yeah, you're spot on. I love what you said there, because it's one of those things to where when I eat something like that, I can't say I ever feel guilty, ever.
Same. Yeah.
Ever. But at the same time, for me, I've been doing this so long, it's just ingrained to me. I do it on autopilot. And that's another thing that I like to talk with people about, is being an intuitive eater. So I call that being an intuitive eater. You're just intuitive. Like you don't have to really think about it. It's like if you've ever gotten in your car and driven home and you've maybe been on the phone, you've been multitasking, and you got home and you probably couldn't recall exactly how you got there because it was just autopilot. But if you ever notice when you're trying to find something, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but sometimes when you're trying to find something, you like turn the music down as if it's going to help you focus better. Like,
yeah. I was like, Luke, Brian, I can't shake it for you right now. I need to concentrate.
Yeah, I said music comes down, right? Because you're like, I'm trying to find this place, because you're very consciously aware of what you're doing, because this is a new place. You haven't gone here before. And so that once you've done something enough times, it's just on autopilot. It's like you have this intuition. You don't really have to think about it anymore. Like driving a stick shift. First time you tried to drive, if you know how to drive a stick shift, the first time you try to drive it, it is so stressful, you know, because you're stalling the car out, you're, you know, grinding the gears and the clutch. But once you get used to it, it's like, it's so easy. And the same thing applies to everything, you know, and nutrition and exercise is no different. It's just having someone guide you so that you're kind of steering clear of all the confusion and all the, you know, contradicting advice out there. Because to me, I mean, as a coach, I've been in this since I was 19. I'm 36 now. So I've been in this a long time, and I've been studying it a long time, and I still say, yeah,
Those are goals.
37 next month.
Happy early birthday.
Thanks. So, you know, I know that there's a whole bunch of contradicting advice out there, and it's one of the big reasons I do this is because there's so much confusion of like, should I be doing keto or should I do, and I use these because these are the most talked about, right? They're trendy, you know. For a long time, I think keto is still pretty trendy, but for a long time it was like IF, intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, if you're not doing IF, you know, everything else you're doing is dumb. You know, and people get so stuck on like having to do this one type of thing, and it's just so not the case. I look at it more like tools. It's like we have all these tools, you know, but do I need every tool in my toolbox for, you know, each job that I'm going to do? Like, no, this is the goal. This is the target. Let's use the tools that work best for that. And that's unique to each individual. So I think I got off topic there a little bit, but
it's so good. Here's what I love about this interview. So many things. And I have lots of thoughts too. Like we could definitely talk forever and ever and ever. But I hope that you guys watching, you can like, again, feel his heart. That's something that's okay. I'm a psychic and intuitive and all the things. So for me to connect with someone, I need to be able to feel them before I can trust them. And that's how I know. So I hope that you can like feel Christopher's heart and like his passion for this. And he has so much knowledge that we're just like scraping the very, very surface of this, because there's so much to do. And I really look forward to doing a Wisdom Drop Wednesday with you in the future. So totally okay if we get off topic, because it's all grand in the perfect ways. So let's talk about if someone wants to work with you, like what does you do, your sessions or your program, what does that look like?
Sure. So I have different options that, again, unique to the individual. I've had people who they've got, their training dialed in, but their nutrition is just all over the place. I've had people who were dealing with inflammation in their bodies, or they're dealing with, different things that they wanted to work through. And so, I help people through that. Or if it's, I haven't been able to get fit, I haven't been able to get the body I want, well, then I go into a lot more depth with you. And, we work on your nutrition together, we work on your training together. And I give you a way that is, what I try to do is simplify everything. I don't like to make things more complicated than they need to be, because
thank goodness someone is able to do that, because yes, that's beautiful.
I mean, if you're a technical, analytical person and you want to know all the details, I've had clients like that where we've spent tons of time together and they just ask me question after question after question after question. I'm cool with that because I love teaching, but at the same time, my brain operates on a level where most people just don't, it just goes over their head. It's so technical. I'm like, it'd be like reading an encyclopedia. I have a very analytical mind. So I like to understand things on a very, very I don't know how to describe it, but on a level that's, I think, not simple. So I try to simplify everything and make it really easy for you to do. So, your training is all in an app that's accessible on your phone. It's all very simple to use.
Oh, cool.
Your nutrition is, again, it's more of like a guideline, and nutrition requires a lot of coaching. It's not one of those things where I'm like, hey, here's this plan, just go follow it. I've had people that have been able to do that, but what I do is really take time with you to understand it and to figure out, what is your lifestyle already like? Why haven't you been able to get where you want to go? And we work through that, because I think what I see a lot of people doing is just like, here's this plan, and they're handing the same plan to every person. Doesn't matter your goal, doesn't matter what you're trying to do, doesn't matter it's just the same plan. Every person gets the same plan. And I've seen that happen so many times, and it makes me mad. It upsets me, because there's no such thing as a perfect plan. Everybody's different. There's a perfect plan for you because your life's, based on your lifestyle and your goals and what you're trying to achieve. So, the way I work with people is I want to identify where you are right now, where you want to go, and what's prevented you from getting there, because those are the three things that we focus on in order to get that outcome that you really want to achieve. And the way I do that is on a discovery call. So the discovery calls are free. They typically are 30 to 60 minutes in length. And you can book one of those by going directly to one of my social media pages. And so my Facebook is facebook.com/Thrive with Chris. And then also my Instagram is the same. There are periods in between the words, so they wouldn't let me do it the other way, but it's thrive.
Drop it down above or below too, so you guys have easy access to that for sure.
And if you typed in my name too, fortunately there's not a lot of Christopher DeBartolos out there. So if you type that in, it'll also pop up. But once you find me on there, you just reach out to me and we'll set that up, and I'm happy to answer your questions and help steer you in the right direction.
So good. I'm so happy that we're talking about this and that we were able to feature you on this show, this channel, Thought Leader Thursday, because the whole thing is that mediocre to magical is what I believe in. And we have to admit that there are a lot of choices that we make that can sometimes be mediocre. And a lot of times it's with our health and with our nutrition. And I'm so glad that you get to kind of create the bridge between the mediocre to magical and help people really live that life that they truly, truly want and desire. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment on the video below. You can contact myself or Christopher directly at the links that we'll share. And so 2 more questions for you. This one's a fun one. What is your favorite word and what does it taste like?
What is my favorite word and what does it taste like? That's awesome, Ashley. Oh God. I was not prepared for this. I've got a lot of favorite words. And what is it? Tasting though. I don't know about that.
It's my favorite personality questions.
I could say it's delicious and it tastes like pizza.
Oh, I love it. Oh, good job. Well done. Way to wrap that up. Well, is there any other last words of encouragement that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, stemming from a previous conversation that Ashley and I were having before we jumped on this, we were talking about making a decision, because a lot of times we get to a point where we know we want change. We want to change. Sometimes we're ready, sometimes we're not. But it's really important that you decide. And Ashley mentioned earlier having a decided heart. And to me, that was empowering, because a lot of times we make decisions up here, but they don't stick. We make that logical decision of like, I'm ready to do this. I really want change. But not until does it sit in our heart and we do it with a decided heart, do we really commit and do the hard things. And there's another quote that I wanted to follow up. It's by Jim Rohn. And he says, the purpose of setting goals is to entice you to become the person required to achieve them. And so when you think about that goal, or when I think about, or that quote, what I think about is who I'm being right now in my life, my current behavior, my current actions, who I am, my belief systems. They're not ready to have that thing that I want. I have to grow. I have to actually become a better version of myself in order to achieve that thing that I want. So it's to entice you to become better, to grow. But in order to do that and to take the first step, you need to decide with your heart on what you want to do and how you want to change, and recognize that it's going to call you to grow. It's going to call you to go through some challenges in order to achieve it. So that's the last thing I want to leave you with.
Mic drop. Again, you guys get on the phone, take advantage of that free clarity call, 30 to 60 minutes, to be able to tap into that genius and see if Chris is the right coach for you. So again, thank you, Chris, for being here. We love you so much. And to our audience, thank you for sticking on this video this long. And we wish you an amazing day full of amazing things. And we'll see you next time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.